Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Viva Mexico, cabrones. What the hell's going on out here with boxing? Now, Canelo lost to Terence Crawford. It was a competitive fight, but he lost. But after the loss, the WBC kept him ranked number 1. Man, what the hell's going on? Now, for those of y'all who don't know who Canelo is, I mean, you've obviously been sleeping underneath a rock. This is Canelo. His record now stands at 63 wins, 39 KOs. He's got 3 losses. He's never been knocked out. 61% KO ratio. About 5'7.5", 70-inch reach. This is the man who's been holding down boxing for quite some time, but I just don't understand how the WBC, where is that, has him ranked at number 1. This just lets you know that the secret society is in full effect. Where is this right here? Should be pulling up right now. Okay, look right here. Terence Crawford is the big dog for the WBC. That's the green tab right here. But you look underneath that column, Canelo Alvarez is ranked number 1. But right below Canelo is Hamza Shiraz. So what I think is going to happen here is either Crawford, I know they're trying to push for Benavidez, but you could see Canelo end up fighting Mbili or still fighting Shiraz, but one way or the other, Canelo is hanging on to get himself back in line to face the winner of Crawford and whoever Crawford fights next. I do think Benavidez is being pushed for either Crawford or Benavidez, for Crawford or Canelo. I think it's going to be Benavidez and Crawford. That's what I think. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I just have a feeling that's the way this shit is going to go. And then Canelo could face Mbili or Shiraz, and if he wins that fight, then he could be back in line to face the winner of Benavidez and Crawford. That's if things play out the way I see it. Doesn't mean that I'm right. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong. We're just having a conversation. But one thing we for sure should be talking about is how the hell is Canelo ranked number 1 after losing? But the quick answer is the secret society's in full effect and they do what they want. But after losing decisively to Terence Crawford, I mean, he surrendered all of his titles, man. Let somebody else come along and get a shot. Crawford outboxed him, outworked him, did the business and made history. First male fighter to become undisputed in 3 weight divisions, 4-belt era. Just days later, the WBC comes out and put Canelo at the number 1 contender. So it doesn't make him the mandatory, but he's in a really good position to find himself back fighting with Terence Crawford. Now you're probably asking, how the hell is that possible? It's just boxing politics, man. That's all it is, just boxing politics. You got to understand who's still the face of boxing, who's still the sport's biggest box office draw. It's not Crawford. It'll never be Crawford. And I'm not saying that because I don't wish it wasn't Crawford. It's just the reality. And even Crawford knows that. When it comes to him, his profile, Canelo and Canelo's profile, there's no comparison. Canelo's still the sport's biggest box office draw, and that's why Turki Al-Sheikh is still, standing next to Canelo's side, There's not many guys out there who can sell tickets just because of their name. Canelo could have 20 losses. They'll still pay for his fights. They don't care. They love him because Canelo fights. But his name sells tickets. His name sells pay-per-views. His name brings sponsorships and endorsement deals. The WBC knows this, and they benefit, you know what I'm saying? So ranking him number 1 keeps him in the conversation, keeps the fans engaged, and keeps the cha-ching-ching, Wu-Tang cream, keep the money flowing. So what does this mean for Canelo? I think it means he just got to come out here and fight and win. But it definitely, it gives him a lifeline, you know what I'm saying? He's no longer a champion, but he's relevant. And he has the leverage to negotiate really big fights. And with Turki Al-Sheikh supporting him, even without a belt, the sky's the limit for Canelo. But it also signals that the WBC is willing to bend rules. The WBC will do what it has to keep Canelo in play. Nobody wants Canelo out the loop. You see what Bob Arum was doing with Lomachenko, right? Down there at 135. Lomachenko would lose, but being a mandatory or opportunity to fight for a title, still ranked #1. You watch that, you're like, how the hell Lomachenko keep getting all these lifelines? Because he was somebody at 135. You know what I'm saying? And it was Bob Arum. Favorite fighter. Bob Arum even said, "Oh Lord, it comes to Lomachenko. He can call me Pop Pop." I haven't seen Lomachenko. I haven't seen Bob Arum kiss Lomachenko on the cheek. Pow, Lomachenko. They call me Pop Pop. I said, God damn, Bob Arum. You out here bugging and shit, man. But anyway, man, Canelo said he's not retiring. He wants to fight till he's 40. It means about 5 more years. And I just think for Canelo, the WBC, the secret society, keeping Canelo in a very high ranking gives him a path back to the top, whether it be a rematch with Crawford, title shot against the interim champion Billy, or a high-profile fight with Hamza Shiraz. The bottom line is Canelo's still relevant, and if he does the business, he's back. So, who's he going to fight? The more I look at it, I think the Benavidez fight is going to be pushed on Crawford. But it could come Canelo's way, but I don't think so. When you look at that ranking, I tend to think that it's going to be Shiraz. I think Billy's going to rematch Lester. But I think Canelo against Shiraz is a very hard fight for Canelo. I don't think that shit's easy at all. I think that's a hard fight for Canelo, and he's going to take another loss. Because Turki Al-Sheikh likes Shiraz too. Canelo's he's in a good position to be ranked #1, but he's in a horrible space because of who he may have to fight. You know what I'm saying? But Christian and Billy is a dog. You got to shoot him. Christian and Billy is just ferocious, non-stop. I mean, he's an African machine. You know what I mean? He holds the WBC interim title. Fought to a draw against Lester Martinez. That's why they're having a rematch. So in Billy, he's technically ahead of Canelo in line for Crawford, but he's got to rematch Martinez and Canelo just because of his marketability. Canelo could override any and everything that we've been talking about, especially if he really goes to Turki Al-Sheikh and says, I want Crawford next. I think Turki Al-Sheikh may bend a little bit for him. I really do. But it doesn't look like it's going that direction. Now with Hamza Shiraz, he already said, look, I'm ready to fight Canelo next. Everybody wants to fight Canelo because of the money. But that fight makes sense. Shiraz is young, undefeated, rising fast. Canelo needs a winnable but credible opponent to rebuild the momentum, so Shiraz kind of fits that bill. But if you ask me who's more dangerous, Billy or Shiraz, I'm going to tell you Shiraz. Billy for the volume, Shiraz for the power. And Canelo's there to be hit. Shiraz is tall and long. That shit could be all bad for Canelo, boy, because if Crawford was hurting him in the 12th round, if Shiraz catch him with some shit, I think he can hurt him. But it's boxing. When you made the kind of money Canelo's made, he's now getting put into fights where he has doubt. He's not sure if he'll win. So if he can get these victories, these will carry more weight than any other win that he's had in his boxing career. Now, as far as Turki Al-Sheikh and what he's going to do, look, I don't think he wants to rematch with Crawford. But Turki Al-Sheikh is the Saudi broker. He's funding boxing's biggest events. He's made it clear. He's not interested in Canelo-Crawford rematch right now. He's focused on expanding Riyadh season into the U.S. and building new stars like David Benavidez, Jerron Ennis, Shakir Stevenson. But when I tell y'all that, y'all don't listen to me and shit. So go out there and do your research like me. Now, the first fight between Canelo and Crawford, it was historic, but it wasn't explosive. Crawford dominated, no controversy, almost a few knockdowns, but Canelo held on. No drama, you know what I'm saying? So Turki he don't want a rerun. He wants a spectacle. So he feels that if Crawford and Canelo fought again, he'd probably get a rerun, and he doesn't necessarily want to watch that shit. So he's steering both fighters towards new matchups. Again, that's just going to ultimately continue to grow Riyadh season as a brand and make sure Turki's reach goes from local to international. Now, as far as Canelo, I say he's barely hanging on. I think that's a yes or no answer, you know what I'm saying? Physically, Canelo looked faded against Crawford. It is what it is. He's been putting in the work for a long time. He overtrained getting ready for Crawford, so it happened. But he admitted his body just couldn't do it anymore despite a strong camp. You got to listen when a fighter tells you, my body just can't do it anymore. That just lets you know the end is near. But at 35, 68 fights, 20 years as a pro, the wear and tear is showing. He's human, man. The man's human. But emotionally and in his heart and his mind, he's still a dog. He's still ready to fight. That's all he knows how to do. So he didn't make excuses. He accepted the loss. And he's just already looking to what's next. Maybe a tune-up fight, Shiraz and Billy, Diego Pacheco. If he can go and get wins against those guys, it could give him the confidence and rhythm to chase one last legacy bout. So he's not done, but Canelo, in my opinion, he's on borrowed time. And as long as he's on borrowed time, he's going to continue to at least have the WBC look out for him with the way they rank him. And this is where fans get heated because they feel like the way the WBC is treating Canelo is not fair. You know, they feel like he shouldn't be ranked #1 in any sanctioning body, especially coming off a loss. And it wasn't just a regular loss, it was a clear loss. And they just feel that shit is unfair to active contenders. You look at a guy like Shiraz and Billy, Pacheco, they've been grinding, they've been winning, climbing the ranks. You know, Canelo was the big dog, he lost. So he should have dropped more. I think he should have. But boxing isn't just sport, it's business. The WBC knows Canelo brings eyeballs. Ranking him #1, it keeps the door open for big fights, big money, to where the WBC benefits. So it's not merit-based, it's market-based, and people need to understand that. And while that's frustrating, it's also the reality we live in, you know what I'm saying? So what does this mean for boxing fans and for fighters? Well, for fans, it's just a wake-up call. For those of y'all who've been sleeping, rankings aren't always earned. I've already talked about the stories about Bob Arum and Don King and all the articles. You can go look them up and read. How they used to pay the sanctioning bodies hundreds of thousands of dollars to have their guys put in mandatory positions or put in the top 10 or get opportunity for title shots. It's just how it goes, you know what I'm saying? Most of this shit ain't earned. It's about greasing palms with the Wu-Tang cream. But for these fighters, you know, it's a reminder that popularity can outweigh performance. And that's why your profile is very important. If you're not selling tickets, you're not getting title shots. That's why young fighters need to build brands, not just records. People get hit on Jake Paul, but you wonder why Jake Paul can come out here and do what he wants. Because of the ticket sales. And Canelo's ranking shows that legacy and leverage matter more than wins and losses. It's unfair, but it's the game. It's all about your profile. And Canelo has the biggest profile in boxing. So, Canelo, is his legacy still in play? Yeah, his legacy is still in play. He may have lost to Crawford, but he didn't lose his place in boxing. The WBC ranking, Turkey's influence, and his own resilience gives him a lot of options. He could fight in Billy, could fight Shiraz, who knows, he could be Benavidez, he could fight anyone he wants. He could fight Crawford next in a rematch, he could fight the winner of Crawford and whoever Crawford opponent is going to be. But the bottom line is for Canelo, he's got to win, and win convincingly if he really wants to keep moving up the ladder and continuing to grow his greatness. But otherwise, the #1 ranking just becomes a symbolism of favoritism, not of greatness. And that's what Canelo can't afford to have happen at this point in his career. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Canelo's the man, face of boxing. Think Canelo, you think dollar signs. That's why he's where he is right now. But going forward, if he doesn't win, It's only so long these sanctioning body can try to do him favors. He's got to win, and he's just in a tough spot because he's got some killers circling him. So I don't know, we just got to wait and see if Canelo can do the business. Keep cool him in the breeze.